Okay, welcome to this call. I know you all look forward to this call every single week because Stacey and I get inboxes and messages and follows and all sorts of things. When's the next call on? It's on the same time every week. So whether you're on here live or you receive this recording, thank you so much for following. We know you guys are hungry on usage tips on OlyLife machines. That goes without saying because we know how much you love these calls. And it couldn't be possible without the amazing experience and intelligence of the wonderful Stacey Marie. She's the girl behind the knowledge. And last week we had the P90 Plus, and I'm like, really? You can do that? And I've been here for 11 months, 11 months, and I'm still like blown away with what this incredible lady knows, how she delivers it. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about the wand first, and then you guys, as you think of a question, pop it in the chat, and we will come back and answer questions about anything that you like after that. So take it away, Stace.
All right, hi everybody. I'm back on camera finally. I barely made it back home though. That's why you see me in my car. So I brought the wand with me because I wouldn't make it back home one time. So we've got it. Bad news is I tried to power it on in here and it broke my power inverter, but that's okay because it's a car one. I didn't know if it was the right voltage or anything. I was like, I'll just try it. But anyway, so you won't be able to hear operate today, but I'm going to talk a lot about how it operates today. Before I get started though, I want to just say that anything we discuss on this call is not to replace medical advice. So if you hear anything on this call and you want to take charge of your health, please consult with a physician first to go over any therapies that we discuss on this call. This call is not to replace medical advice whatsoever, so make sure you consult with your physician before trying any of these therapies. Okay, anything else before I get started, Tracy?
Take it
No? Okay.
away. Take it away.
So a lot of people don't know that in the Eastern world, frequency wands were actually way more popular and the first thing that came out in the frequency world. So this is the OlyLife version of that. This is called the Vitality Wand. And you're going to look at it and go, what the heck is that thing? Well, as you can see, it has an open tip here on the end. It sounds like a blow dryer when it's on. It has a power switch right here. When you turn this power switch on, it has a little timer that pops up and then also an indicator of what level you're on. This has a cool, warm and hot setting on it. And you're like, well, what the heck would I do with that? Well, it sounds like a blow dryer, but it's doing so much more than a blow dryer does. So yes, you're going to feel some heat coming out if you have that setting on, but what this is doing is it's emitting PEMF and terahertz out of the tip. And the way that it does that is the rapidly moving air goes through a special crystal on the inside, and it generates that biomagnetic field coming out of the end of it. Now, when you're using this device, it does have to be relatively close to the skin. So you don't want to be any further than about that when you're using it on your body. It is going to have a little indicator light that comes on and shows you where you're pointing the frequency, so you kind of have an idea of where it's aimed. And basically, this is going to work with reflexology points on the body. So there is what we call a traditional opening with the wand. A lot of people don't know anything about the traditional opening because they weren't taught the Eastern method, but it is to open the lymphatic system. And if you want, you might want to get a little pen and piece of paper because I'm going to be going over a lot of things that you can do with this awesome device. So the opening protocol that I want to go over first is when you receive your device, and if you've never had an OlyLife device and this is your first one, you can get the same or similar results as the P90. This is just a little bit harder to use. It's not as user-friendly as sitting down and putting your feet on the plate, etc. But you can produce similar results. This is also a more budget-friendly option. If you think that you're missing out because you can't get the P90 and can only afford this, don't worry. You can get very similar results with this if you use it properly. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the opening. The opening is done with reflexology points on the lymphatic system. The first 2 points that you want to hit is the soles of your feet. You would want to do it again about that far away for about 30 seconds on each sole of the feet. You can wave it all the way around. You could do little circles, however you would like. Try not to stay in one spot too long. You want to move that energy around as much as you can. So little circles is my preference when I'm showing someone in person. So soles of the feet are the first thing you're going to do. You're going to do the same thing on the back of your knees, little circles right behind the back of your knees, on the insides of your elbows as well for 30 seconds each, and then under your armpits for 30 seconds each, and then also the crown or the top of your head for 30 seconds total. So once you have that done, then you can go anywhere else you want on the body. So if you have varicose veins and you want to work on that, you could do the little circles on that. Do about 15 minutes per session when you're first starting. You can go all the way up to a 45-minute session, but it's going to take you a while to get there because this does emit a very powerful biomagnetic field, and you don't want to overdo it. Just like with the P90, you want to pace yourself. So start with about 15 minutes. And like I said, after you do the opening, you can go wherever you want. So for me, when I started using a wand, I had a lot of neurological symptoms. So I focused a bunch on like the base of my skull, the top of my head. I did some thyroid work. I did my vagus nerve, things like that. So any hot spots, look up reflexology points. Sometimes you might be wanding your side for an organ that's on the other side. It just depends on the reflexology point. So make sure you check out those charts, because this is kind of what this works on. Now, there's a lot of other things you can do with this device besides using it on your body directly. One of the cool things about this device is you can charge water. So water molecules in their natural state are like a cluster of grapes. So this device, when you put the charge into the water, it turns those water molecules into a linear structure. So what does that mean? That means that the hydration is going to jump straight into the cell instead of trying to shove its way in there. And a lot of us have really unhealthy cells that are kind of closed off and dried up and dehydrated and can't get hydration the way they should. This kind of bypasses all of that. The water itself, to charge it, you actually want to blow the surface of the water for about 30 seconds. And everybody's like, how do you blow the surface of the water without splashing water everywhere? Well, you kind of do it at an angle. So pretend my hand is the water. You want to do it at an angle and just little ripples appearing across the top of the water. You want to hold it there for about 30 seconds, and then your water is charged. Now, I do recommend, if it's your first time ever charging water, taste your water first before you charge it, and then take a little sip after you charge it. And you'll notice a difference in the texture and the taste. I can always tell my water's charged versus not charged. Everything tastes better in charged water. Now, the charged water itself, you can drink that throughout the day, and it does do a very mild detoxing of the cells, because the hydration is going in and pushing out the bad stuff that's in the cells. It's actually able to get in the cells better than regular water. So you may see a detox effect. What do I mean by that? You're probably going to pee a lot more. Like, that's what happened with me. I was definitely back and forth to the bathroom a bunch of times. Dropped a bunch of inflammation with just charged water and a 15-minute session off this, my first try. So it's amazing for that. Now, the charged water itself, it can be used for a whole host of other things. So I keep charged water in a little like amber colored glass spray bottle. I keep it for mosquito bites. I keep it for cuts. I keep it for bruises, anything like that. You could spray it directly onto the skin, and that charge is going to penetrate into the skin. You can also put charged water in your bathtub. So if you have a little bit of charged water and you want to dump it into your bath, it will charge the whole bathtub. Or it's not really safe. I don't recommend it. Don't stand over the bathtub and wand your water. Electricity and water don't mix. So I recommend wanding a smaller container of water, pouring it into your bath water, and then it will charge the whole body of water. What's cool about that is when you add something to your bath like magnesium, like Epsom salt, stuff like that. So that will actually help your cells drink in that better as well. It will actually help it soak into the cells better, because you're basically opening up the cell with the hydration from the charged water, and then everything's just going to drink in even better. So this applies to your supplements. This applies to your vitamins. It applies to anything that you're putting in your body with charged water running through it. So excuse me, the number one thing that I like charged water for is beauty stuff. If you've never sprayed charged water on your skin, I highly recommend it. Now, I would do it before you put it in, and if you're using lotions and stuff like that, make sure it's clean. I'm sure everybody on this call knows all about clean ingredients. But if you spray it on your skin first and then you put on your lotion, it's going to soak in deeper. Your skin's going to get softer. It's going to plump up better. It's just a wonderful tool for that. You can actually do spot treatments with it for age spots, for acne, for psoriasis, for eczema. I mean, every skin condition under the sun. I've even seen it work on really severe cystic acne. And you can also do the charged water all over the face as a beauty treatment, and then dry it off with the wand itself. So blowing your face after you put the charged water on there, very awesome skin treatment. And again, any skin products you put on, all those expensive products that we buy for our face, will soak in better and work more effectively after a treatment. So that's one of my favorite things for it. Now, I have also seen that this works extremely well with kids. So a lot of people will ask me, Can we put a child on a P90? So the answer is kind of mixed there. The company says absolutely no children if they can't communicate. That's what it says in the manual. So that's what I go by. But sometimes we have a smaller child that may be having some health issues or skin issues or something like that. And this kind of replaces the need for the P90 because you can put charged water in their formula and their breast milk in anything they're eating, stuff like that, and they will still get benefits of the charge from that. And so it's really good for kids, especially developing kids. I like frequency for kids. Giving them the best possible voltage as they're developing is amazing for their overall growth. And then also blow drying your hair with it. So yes, it looks like a blow dryer, sounds like a blow dryer, but you can actually use it as a blow dryer. And what this will do, the frequency itself, that biomagnetic field that comes out, it will stimulate those hair follicles. So if you have thinning hair, if you have gray hair, it works on both of those things, depending on your genetics. I'm not going to claim it gets rid of all gray hair, but if your hair is gray due to lack of minerals, this is probably going to darken up your hair. It's happened to me. It's happened to my clients. And a lot of people don't understand that gray hair is either lack of minerals or a genetic thing, one of the two. So you won't know until you try it. But if you have thinning hair, a lot of women deal with hormonal imbalances these days, and we all are struggling with that scalp peeking through a little bit. This is excellent for that. I blow dry my hair with this every day. My hair is perfectly fine. I did have quite a bit of thinning after my vaccine injury, and this is what I used to get my hair back to its full state. So that is the general overview of it. Now, this is what I take with me when I travel. That's also another reason that I love it, is because, you know, the P90 is great. Of course, we want to take it when we travel, but it's so bulky, it's kind of hard to travel with. This is a great stand-in. If you're going out of town for a prolonged time, you don't want to miss your frequency sessions, grab your wand, toss it in your bag, and this will take the place of the P90. I'm not going to say it's as strong as the P90 or as easy to use as the P90, but it is a great stand-in if this is what you can get in your bag. Another thing that I love about it is you can use it on your plants. So I don't know about you guys, but I am very bad with plants. I end up killing them all the time. I either overwater them or underwater them because I get too nervous about overwatering them. But I have literally done this test myself with plants I had in my old home, and I had killed one, and the leaves were all brown. And somebody's like, pour some charged water in it and then wand the leaves. And I'm like, that sounds crazy. And sure enough, when I did that, the next day I woke up and the plant was green. Looked like nothing had ever happened. The leaves were totally fine, back to being unfurled and normal and hydrated and beautiful. You can literally plant the exact same plants next to each other and wand one plant and not the other, and wait till you see the difference in the wanded plant versus the not wanded plant. It's really, really cool to see. So yeah, your plants love this frequency as well. And even if you don't want to wand your plants, because that seems a little ridiculous, you could at least give them the wanded water to drink, which will have a similar effect. The other thing that I love it for is pets. So pets can tend to be a little bit skittish about the sound that comes out of it, but sometimes, like my dog, he was a little bit like, ooh, but the day that I got mine, he had been neutered and he was just whimpering in pain. I had given him the pain medication from the vet. I had, tried hot compresses, just tried cuddling him, whatever. He was just whimpering. And it didn't cross my mind to use this because I was new and I was still learning and all of that. So finally somebody was like, why don't you try wanding him? And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So I turned it on. And he was a little bit like, whoa, what's that? Because it was kind of loud. Actually, this new model is a lot quieter than our old one. But he backed away. But as soon as he realized that it was helping and relieving his pain, he relaxed. His whole body relaxed. I did it for about 2 or 3 minutes on the affected area, his incision and all of that. He stopped whimpering and went right to sleep. So it was like an instant pain relief for my dog. I also charge my animals water. If they're eating wet food, I will mix it with charged water, in their wet food. Also, if they don't like the sound, the charged water can do a lot on its own without having to terrorize them with the sound. So it's an amazing tool for animals. It is probably I would say this is our best tool for animals. A lot of people don't know this, but PEMF is used in the equestrian world a lot. So a lot of animal people know a lot about PEMF. They just don't have the, tens of thousands of dollars for those really expensive devices. So this is definitely amazing because it's so cheap compared to the ones that they use in the veterinary situations and equestrian world. This is so cheap. Comparatively, and it does so much of the same thing. I actually have a client that uses all of her devices with her animals and her horses. She uses her wands with her horses. It's super cool. So I wanted to open up the Q&A. We can talk about the wand first. I would prefer wand questions first, then we can move on to other stuff later. But what's your question about this guy? Is there something I didn't cover that you wanted me to cover? Let me know.
We've got a
How do
few
we get,
questions in there, Stace. Can you
do
add
we? Okay.
your minerals to the charged water?
Yes, after it's charged. Yep.
Yep.
Charge it
How
first
long
and then
does,
squeeze them in.
beautiful. Sherelle, how long does the water stay charged for?
So it's about 6 months if you store it in glass, 24 hours if you store it in metal. So if you have like a Stanley cup or a little jug or something that's metal, stainless steel, or copper even, 24 hours is max in those because it does start to decharge neutralize that electrical charge after a while.
Perfect. Sonia would like to know how to use for the eyes and the teeth.
So for the eyes and the teeth, depending on what's wrong, I would start with, you can do like in a sterilized, you want to use distilled water if you're going to do anything with the eyes, just so you know. Make sure you're charging distilled water. And you can do eye drops. You can try spraying it on your eyes and kind of rubbing it in, however you're comfortable with getting the water into your eyes. I actually would suggest that after you put some of the charged water in your eyes to treat the eyes, that you also blow them for a couple of minutes, kind of until that water feels like it's dried up. Um, and then for the mouth, same thing. Charge the water, distilled water, because the mouth is really sensitive to bacteria and stuff like that. So you don't want dirty water when you charge it for your mouth, because in the mouth, if you have tooth pain, infection, prone to cavities, stuff like that, you can actually swish the charged water for a few minutes, get it nice and worked around in there. You'll actually notice a difference in the inflammation of the gums just from swishing the water for a couple of minutes, which is crazy. This is excellent at getting the inflammation down in every part of the body.
Thanks, Stace. So Jan Cleary, hi Jan. I heard that PEMF and terahertz only work if using cool versus heat on the wand. So when is it best to use to each temperature?
That's not true. The frequencies come out in every setting. I typically tend to stick with the cool setting just because I like to focus. If I'm doing focus sessions, I like to stay in one area a long time, like at least a few minutes, 5 minutes or so. And I find that the heat just, if I'm like, when my knee was injured, for example, if I put too much heat on it, it almost made the pain worse because heat can kind of exacerbate inflammation. So I prefer the cool mode. But yeah, the frequencies come out on every temperature. It's every mode.
Thanks, Stace. Pam would
Mhm.
like to confirm the opening spots, the soles of the feet, the backs of the knees, armpits, and top of head.
It's the soles of the feet, back of the knees, inside of the elbows, armpits, and crown of the head. Yep.
Great.
And that's to
Hi.
open up the lymphatic drainage system. So if you're familiar with gua sha, where you kind of like take your fingers and you pull the lymph down, that's basically what you're doing with the frequency. You're starting at your feet because you want it to come out of your feet. So you're doing that, you're telling the body to move in that direction. And then after you get that nice and open, you'll actually notice that, a lot of people don't know this, but when you get injured, your veins will like kind of stick up out of the skin. If you have really thick, toxic blood, you'll notice your veins bulging out. After I did my first opening with that, my veins like went down within minutes. Like you could tell my circulation had increased and my lymph was flowing nicely just within a few minutes.
So cool. Payush, sorry if I've got that wrong. Would like to ask the levels on the wand from 0 to 3, do the PEMF and terahertz levels remain the same, or is it just the air that changes?
It's just the temperature of the air that changes. The frequency is the same on every level.
Then she asked a water question that's already been asked. Also, how does the wand generate terahertz compared to the wand that is generating by a crystal?
I'm not sure I understand that question. The way that
Also,
generate EM and the terahertz is through the high speed air that comes through that special crystal that's on the inside. That's why I have you hold it close too, because the magnetic field only so far out of the tip. If you're really away from it, you're not going to be getting the benefits. You're going to just be blowing air on it at that point. So make sure you're close. Because crystal that's inside the tip, as the air is passing by really fast, it has such a road in it, and it blows. If you feel it, you can see your skin moving because the air is coming out so fast. The reason for that speed is to generate that biomagnetic field that comes out of the tip.
okay, thanks, Stace. Raylene would like to know, is it as loud as a hairdryer? Because what she can remember, a hairdryer was very loud in the 80s. Not quite as loud as an 80s hairdryer, but it's not silent.
No, It's got a Dyson motor, so it's got a very high powered, almost like jet motor. So it's like a very high pitched squeal, but I wouldn't say it's loud. Like I don't, I if I could, I wish I could have turned it on and I had that able to show you. But the old ones, when you turned them on, you would have to talk louder like this while they're on because they were so loud. This, your voice stays at the same volume and you don't notice it. So I would say it depends on your, your opinion, what loud is. To me, because I do the old models, I'm like, no, this is nothing. But yeah, nowhere near as abrasive as a blow dryer though. I would like to, if you have a Dyson, you just know how they have that like high pitched whistle and they just sound very like whistly more than like motory.
Yeah, thanks, Stace. That was a good interpretation. So Linda, hi Linda's back again. She would like to know about pressure wounds with the
What
wand.
about pressure wounds?
She's just got pressure wounds
Meaning like somebody
question
has a
mark.
bed, like a bed sore.
I'm
Yeah, I would
thinking
use
that's
this
what
on
she means.
anything that is not like actively bleeding. And when I say actively bleeding, I mean like you just cut yourself on a piece of glass and it's spraying blood. You know what I mean? If it's a wound that's pretty settled down and not actively oozing blood, then I think it's fine to use it on. If you're nervous to use it on it because it is oozing blood, you can still spray charged water on it, and that will help with infection and getting oxygen to that blood, helping remove toxins, helping getting the inflammation down. You can literally watch it heal, anything heal faster, cuts, scrapes, bruises, anything like that with wanded water will heal faster. But they do precaution on putting it on anything that is openly like I'm sorry, actively bleeding, because it does increase that circulation temporarily after use. And of course, if you're actively bleeding, you don't want to keep, you don't want to increase the circulation just then.
Great, good info. Now, Deb, her hubby has twisted his knee. So does she just use it, point the wand for 5 to 10 minutes at his knee?
I mean, if you're in a hurry, yeah, but it's going to work better if you do that opening first, just to get things flowing first, and then you can do the focus time there. Again, the frequency of all the devices that we talk about, the goggles, the P90s, is intuitive. So even if you're putting a localized, session on something, the frequency is going to go in the body where it's needed the most. So sometimes the focus session on the pain area is better than just doing an opening and hoping the opening will work, because the body will send it where it's maybe not needed. So let's say you twisted your knee and you're in a lot of pain in your knee, but meanwhile your liver's doing weird stuff, but you don't know your liver's doing weird stuff because you can't feel any symptoms. The frequency is going to go to your liver first. It's going to protect your organs first because it's intuitive that way. So the focus session is the most important part if you have a pain spot like that, but the opening is for the entire body as well, to kind of be in that flow state while you're trying to treat that spot.
Thanks, Stace. Elaine would like to know the most important question of all, but what setting do you blow dry your hair on?
I do the warm setting, not hot. I find the hot is too hot for me, but I'm not a big fan of heat. I mean, I'm always hot. So I
Yeah.
don't want to increase my heat. I always have a lot of heat on me, so I use the warm setting, the middle setting.
Yeah, and we don't want to dry our hair out either, which is what heat will genuinely do.
No, I've got a universal diffuser that I take and I put it on here. So because I have curly hair, so I diffuse. So I'm basically just kind of holding it up to my head in different spots. But yeah, I have women that put their little straightening piece on it, because you can get universal straightening pieces and you can blow it out. The high heat is really good for a blowout, and you'll never have a blowout like you will have with this. This is your hair will be so shiny and bouncy, and like it changes the whole texture of your hair. And again, any of the products you're going to put on your hair after you blow dry it are going to soak in, and just you're going to get that much more benefit from your products that you're spending all your money on.
Stace, we need a video of you with your diffuser on there, please.
I know.
All the ladies are like, give me a video of that. Okay, so
Right?
how long does it take to charge water?
About 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Is it safe to run on the top
Mm-hmm.
of your head if you have high blood pressure from Beth?
If you don't have high, if you have high blood pressure, I'm sorry, no, you don't want to do it at the head. You want to stay to the bottoms of your feet if you have high blood pressure issues. Um, of course, consult with your physician about use of this device if you do have high blood pressure issues. But I have seen many people get their blood pressure regulated just by doing 15-minute sessions on the feet twice a day.
Very cool. Okay, so Deb would like to know, do you need to do the 30-second routine on the points every time you use it?
If you want the best results, yes. Kind of like when you're on the P90, you don't want to be on your phone or don't want to have jewelry on, because that can interfere with the biomagnetic field. This, if you don't do the opening, you're just not going to have your circulation flowing as well as you should, and you might not get the same maximum benefits in a spot treatment that you would want to hope for. If it's, if it's a time crunch thing, or you just don't feel like you don't feel good, you don't want to do that, then just do the spots that you need it. But the opening protocol is an amazing way to start your day as well. You can just do your points and go take your shower, get that blood flowing, get things moving,
I
and
believe
it makes you feel a lot better.
Great. Who else is waiting on their first wand to arrive in the mail? And this is making it more frustrating, what knowing that it's not here yet. Because that's me. I haven't got a wand after 11 months, and I'm just so excited. Anyway, back to the call.
Yep.
Payush would like to know, can she charge through a mud jar or clay pot with the wand, Stace, or still have to go in over the top?
I'm not a fan of people charging through anything. Whether, because if they say it's lead-free glass, do we believe it's lead-free? If they say the clay is clean and organic, do we believe it's organic? And the reason I caution against that, when these wands started to become popular in the USA, you would see, and you will still see, lots of videos where they have the wand pointed on the side of a glass jar or pitcher, and it's blowing through the glass. Now, I had not one, not two, but three clients of mine who did that at my instruction, because that's how I was taught in the beginning, and ended up with cadmium poisoning from the glass. So no, I would absolutely not do it through any container. We just don't know what they're putting in stuff. We don't know what this stuff is made of. The surface of the water is best. Plus, I've also found through testing that I've done on my own that it charges way faster if you just do the surface of the water, because it doesn't have anything else impeding that field. I also don't think it charges as well when you do it through the glass, because you're not doing that direct biomagnetic field right onto the top of that water. So to me, understanding physics, how's the charge getting in there if there's something blocking it? So I've always done the surface of the water just because that made more sense to me. My clients that did it, we had quite an experience learning the hard way of what happens when you do it through the side of a container. So I don't recommend that.
Great, thanks, Stace. And be warned, you guys, when you blow forceful air into water up close, it's going to go
Yeah.
everywhere. I know Robin's on this call. She did that last week at a restaurant. First time we've charged the water, and the water went everywhere on our table. It was very funny at
Yeah,
the
you
time.
really want it to be just kind of like, here's the surface of the water, right? You want it to just barely graze it, like just a little ripple. That's all you need. And like I said, taste it beforehand. Do it about 30 seconds. Taste it again. You'll be able to tell the difference. If you don't feel that taste difference or texture difference after the first 30 seconds, just do another 30 seconds. Sometimes you didn't have it angled quite right, whatever, but you'll get the hang of it. But you don't have to make a mess. You don't have to make a huge mess every time. You can
At the
just
restaurant.
literally just make a little ripple with it. Right. Yep.
Okay, great. Now, Pam would like to know, can she wand her tooth directly if it's giving her
Yep.
trouble right now?
Yep, I would always recommend swishing with the water first, though. Like I said, the swishing with the water in your mouth is equivalent to doing the opening thing with your whole body, right? If you're really wanting to focus on the mouth, get things moving, get that charge up in there, get the inflammation down, get everything, the cells all nice and juicy and open and receiving all the things you want, then do your mouth. I have had people use it on, abscesses, infections, all kinds of stuff, and it's really, really helped with that.
Very cool. Okay, so Deb would like to know, keeping compliance in mind, Deb, it might be a little bit tricky, but is it safe to place over tumors for C? And how long do I need to place over them? Also, could it cause more pain first or no? Like, does it get worse before it gets better, Stace? And she knows we need to be compliant, of course.
Right. I mean, of course, always consult with your oncologist first, but based on my research and my work with clients, yes, you can wand directly over an area with a tumor as long as it's not an open oozing tumor, right? Again, back to that, no open oozing wounds or whatever. But if it were me and I had a lump, yeah, I'd be doing sessions right on it. What you'll notice after you do some sessions on a tumor is it'll start to become soft. So tumors are usually pretty hard to the touch. Once you start doing this and it's working, you'll feel that tumor kind of go softer. You'll notice that it starts to break down. So again, consult with your oncologist. Most oncologists that I've talked to and worked with have no problem with frequency work, because cancer is, one of the things that it's known for is having a lack of oxygen, and all frequency therapy adds a lot of oxygen to the blood and makes, cancer can't survive with a bunch of oxygen. So you just kind of have to look at all of the factors there. But again, consult with your oncologist before you try it.
Thanks, Stace. So Llewellyn's dad yesterday, who had two teeth removed under general anesthetic, could he use the wand or eye goggles now, please? Or I'm suggesting both, but you go, Stace.
I would do both. I would do both. Yep, I would do both. The goggles are amazing, especially because when you have any work done on your face, you're going to get a lot of tension, and you can be prone to headaches, again, inflammation. So yeah, I would do both. I wouldn't do them both at the same time, of course. I would do the goggles and then the wand, or the wand and then the goggles. But yeah, I would do both
Thanks, Stace.
and switch with the water.
There's a video, yeah, swish of the water, perfect. There's a video out there in the groups of me at the dentist getting an extraction wearing the goggles, and I really did have the goggles on, and it was
Hmm.
a 2 hour extraction. And she rang me on the Monday, my dentist, from the Friday to see how bad my swelling was. She was worried about how much pain I had been in. Nothing, no bruising. She said, "Is your face bruised?" Is nothing, not a sign, not one painkiller, not one Panadol, nothing. So
That's awesome.
a big tick from me. So Deb would like
Hmm.
to know, is it 4 hours after using the P90? I'm thinking she is asking, is it 4 hours to wand after using the P90?
I wouldn't worry about that. No, you just want to make sure that if you're doing like the shaken where you're holding it in the same spot or something like that, you want to wait 4 hours for that. I would wait 4 hours for the shaken. Goggles, I wouldn't care. Wand, I wouldn't care. The shaken's probably the only one I'd wait 4 hours, or of course another P90 session. But you're not supposed to be doing the P90 more than twice a day, so kind of irrelevant. Also, something that somebody asks me all the time, or people ask me all the time, is how long after I do my P90 or my wand can I take a shower? There are some things in traditional Chinese medicine that believe that once you get the body all heated up and everything, you shouldn't be changing that temperature and let the body stay heated up. But if your lifestyle, makes it so that you have to take your shower right after your P90, it's not that you're negating any of those benefits. It's just according to traditional Chinese medicine, you want to keep the body temperature up, and they think that showering can cool you down internally. So that's why they recommend that, just to clear that up.
I hadn't heard that either, so that's great. Lucky I have hot showers. So that was a joke, everyone. Okay.
Right?
You got to be careful joking, I know. Okay, so
Yep.
6 to 8 inches away wanding, trying to guess your measurements, laugh out loud.
But that's probably about 5 inches tops. They claim that it works all the way up to 12 inches, but I don't find that to be true. Because I can tell I've used it on pain spots and stuff like that. And if I'm being lazy and I'm not paying attention, I don't have it on the right spot, I can tell that it's not getting there. So the closer the better. My experience, I prefer cold for that very reason, because you can get the frequency right up next to the skin, and for sure it's getting in there. So um, not too far away. Too far away, again, you're just moving air, because that biomagnetic field only comes out so far on this tip.
Thanks, Stace. Okay, Jan would like to
Mhm.
know, let's talk about the stand, the best time to use it. Can I just add, getting the stand back into the case? I have attempted that a few times on behalf of others at events, and that's quite a trick on its own.
Is it? Maybe there's a trick to it we don't know. I'll be honest with you, my stand is still in my case. I've never used my stand, but the stand is awesome because if you have mobility issues, if you have, inflammation, joint issues, arthritis, stuff like that, if you're older, it can be cumbersome to stand there and, do this. It can be cumbersome. The thing I like about holding it in your hand is you can do little circles, and I just prefer the circles, but on the motorized stand, it does do a nice back and forth slow motion. And the stand itself, it like bends in multiple places, and you can get it, pretty precise with where you want to hit yourself. So um, sometimes a little bit of a juggling act to get it aimed exactly where you want if you're by yourself. But if you've got a family member or something, it's really easy to set up and work those little arms and get it nice and, in the right spot. But yeah, the motorized stand is awesome, but also the hard-sided case. So this travels very well. It's very easy to just pop in the case and take it with you anywhere you go.
It's very sexy. I love the cake.
I do like the case. I do.
Okay, Linda's there agreeing that was you answered that correctly. Is there anywhere around the body it should not be used from Liz?
Pacemakers. Nobody with pacemakers should be using this device. Again, it's kind of the same as the P90, P90 Plus. Have I had clients that have ignored that advice and used it instead? Yes, but I don't recommend that. And again, any therapy that you're going to try, if you have a pacemaker, please consult your physician first. There's nothing else, like I said, except for the open moon. and the pacemakers that would prevent you from using it.
Okay, thanks, Jace. Nancy would like to know what's the
Mhm.
difference in heat between one, two, and three?
So one is literally just cold. The middle one is like a little is warm, not hot, and then the third one is hot. The third one is hot. There's like quite a jump between warm and hot.
Got it. Okay. Payush. I'll get it right by the end, Payush. Also
Maybe.
comparing it to the wand of another company, like a red wand or a pro model, how is it better than the pro model? Also compared to its price.
This is actually the same voltage, the same wattage, I'm sorry, as the Pro from another company called Prife. The one from Prife that has the same volt or wattage is, I think it's $4,500. Okay. Just to put that in perspective. This, it has all Italian parts. It's made with that Dyson motor, which is super quiet. I used to know the other ones and they were very loud. So this is super quiet, same size motor and everything, same amount of frequency coming out of the end as the Pro. And this is only $660 US. So quite a price difference for way more quality.
I love that answer. So wondering how you were going to do that one. Okay, so terahertz goes 20 to 30 centimeters deep inside the body. Will it reach organs?
If you do the charged water, yes. So have you ever noticed, like, when you have drips of water on something, if you take the drips and you connect them, they kind of all run together and become a bigger drip? That's kind of how the charged water works in your body. It gets everything all nice and primed, and then putting that frequency in, it immediately picks it up and carries it where it needs to go. So, yeah.
I hope I see lots of charging water all over the internet this week, ladies and gentlemen, after all this.
I should do a video. I should do a video tutorial video on that.
Yes, yeah, that
Oh,
is
another
so.
thing I wanted to mention, kids that have a lot of ear infections, distilled water, distilled charged water dropped into the ear, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss for that type of stuff. You can also, I've done this when I've had sinus issues, put a little bit of charged water on the palm of your hand, snort it up, it'll clear out your sinuses. So there's all kinds of stuff you can do with charged water. It's crazy. Like there's so many things that they keep popping in my head as I'm thinking about it. Like how have I used it before? So many applications, and all of us that are kind of crunchy, we're known for experimenting with things in our apothecary. That's kind of how I've learned all of this stuff with this wand. Like, well, let's try it for that. Let's try it for this. It's really excellent too. The charged water for toe fungus. So like mixing your tea tree oil with charged water, putting on some toe fungus works well. You know what I mean? It just, like I said, it makes anything that you combine it with work that much better because it's opening up those cells and having them drink it in at a rate that it's never done before. So it's awesome.
Fantastic. Okay, so Michelle Ray, she's a bit confused. Michelle's new. What
Mm-hmm.
vessel are you charging in to avoid the lead leakage from the glasses, etc.? And is the 30 seconds you charge relevant to the volume of water?
No, it doesn't matter as long as you're on the top of the water, because when you charge any piece of that body of water, the charge is going to be taken on by the rest of the water molecules. Like they all talk to each other, kind of like I told you, the drips combine. If you kind of line them together, that's what happens with the charged water. Once one of those molecules starts moving like this, the rest of them just start going, right? As far as the containers, you can have any type of glass container you want. You just do not want to blow the frequency through the side of that container. You want to blow the surface of the water only. That's what I mean by that.
Great. Thanks, Michelle. So Kathy would like to know, have you had measurable results with cancer in people that you know, Stace?
Yes, I have. I
Yeah.
have quite a few stage 4 success stories under my belt. Probably time for another call, but yes, you have to understand that when you look at the body as a whole, okay? The electrical system is the number one system in the body. That's your central nervous system. It runs the entire show. Everything is downstream of that. It is the puppeteer for every system in your body. So when you are using frequency, you are supporting that master puppeteer. And when you do that, other systems downstream of that come into better syncopation. So your hormones balance better, your minerals balance better, your charge is better, your everything, your circadian rhythm, everything comes back into a better rhythm because of that electrical charge, and then your chemical second. So cancer is caused by, the body's inability to remove those cells, those bad cells, like it's supposed to, basically. What voltage does is teach your immune system again how to do its job. So it's supportive of that. Obviously, with cancer people, I do other things. Okay. I'm not saying that frequency is the only tool I use. It's not, but it is a key tool that I use. It's the number one thing that I always recommend for sure because of the oxygenation and the fact that you're going to be absorbing more hydration, more oxygen, more nutrients, all of those things that your body needs. Because when you're already active cancer, your body's struggling. It can't, and it needs more fuel and more tools to do its job. So when you give the body frequency, give it that voltage, it understands its job better. Once again, those neurosynapses, those neurons start firing the way they were supposed to once again, and it can start to eliminate some of those cells that shouldn't be there.
Thanks, Jace. Okay, Pam has a
Mm-hmm.
client with non-stop UTIs and even has to self-catheterize 3 times a day. Could she utilize the wand to help?
Yeah, absolutely. I would do direct sessions right on her bladder. Like, I mean, I know it sounds crazy and you might feel crazy, but I've had UTIs before and I've used my wand and I lay on my back on the bed and just lay the wand and prop it there and just let it blow in that area. That's going to get things woken up, get things moving. Again, this is great for helping the body fight infection because it's going to put, again, more oxygen into the blood. And when you have more oxygen into the blood, your body understands how to remove the things that shouldn't be there. When you're running on empty and your body doesn't have what it needs, it's those raw materials, that's when things go awry. And that's why the UTIs get stuck around because the body doesn't have enough movement, enough voltage, enough power to start eliminating things on its own. And that's what these therapies help with.
Thanks, Jace. Tina would like
Mm-hmm.
to know, or you to highlight about the material, if you wand through materials, so our clothing and what that can risk as well.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're buying 100% organic, bamboo, wool, cotton, that kind of thing, I don't recommend doing it through the clothes. Now, is that always possible? No, but basically our clothes are made of petrochemicals these days. So just like, I told you about the glass and the cadmium poisoning that happened to people that put that frequency through glass, you have to think of it the same way with your clothing.
Now, Sherelle wants to ask about, and I did see this interesting demonstration. She saw a video at Anaheim where they used the wand in the back of the heart chakra, and the guy in front used a pendulum that started circulating. Can you explain what was happening, please?
I'm not really familiar with that kind of stuff. I don't really follow kinesiology or anything like that. My research on it shows it's like 50-50 accurate. So to me, that's just the game of chance. I don't really trust it or put any faith or stock into it. They claim that pendulum swinging is you seeing the energy move around. But I prefer, if you really want to see if the energy is moving around, use that little tube that it comes with that has a little magnet in it. Hold it in front, and you can see the energy coming out. You'll see it.
Yeah, Rena's a kinesiologist. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she's in my team. I work closely with her, very, very clever, and she's talking about the hand moving with that
Mm-hmm.
demonstration. And I think that was a bit of a consistent
Yeah,
belief.
that's what I mean about the pendulum. I wasn't talking about kinesiology as a thing. Like I know it's part of it. It falls under the umbrella. The pendulum demonstrations I've seen, I always feel like I see their hand moving.
Yeah,
I feel,
we see a
I feel
little
like
bit of
they're
this.
always doing that.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah. And I'm just like, I know that the energy's there. I've studied it. I know it's there. I don't need a visual like that, but
Step,
that's why we have those
you
little
step
tubes now
pretty. Step,
because so many people wanted to
step.
make sure that it was actually coming out, you
Hey.
know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just, I've got somebody with their mute off, so can you check your phones for me, pretty please? And Rena's going to do a demonstration where she's not physically moving her hand when she gets her wand. We're talking about that. Hi, ladies. Is
Good.
it okay to use around your private parts? I love this one. I get asked this quite a bit.
Yeah, actually, again, as we do these questions, that's why I wanted to do the Q&A because it'll make things pop into my mind. So this lovely device is excellent for erectile dysfunction and women's libido issues. Why? Because when you do the wand on that area, it's going to send a bunch of blood to that area and wake things up and get things moving, get the circulation going. So I've actually had clients whose husbands haven't been impotent for years do a 5-minute, 10-minute session on that area before they're ready to get busy. And guess what?
It
They got
works.
busy. So, yeah, it works for both men and women that way. So if women have libido issues, men have libido issues, it works for both.
Ladies, be careful what you wish for.
Yes. Don't tell your husbands if you don't want that
Yes,
going
if
on.
you don't want him to know, that's right. Will this help with someone with incontinence from Parkinson's or is paralyzed? Also, would this help someone with miss this? I can't pronounce this one. Myasthenia gravis.
Oh
Myasthenia.
yeah. Yep. So the answer is yes. It helps with every condition under the sun because it actually supports the entire circulation system and the entire nervous system. So yes, especially with Parkinson's. Parkinson's is definitely a nervous system condition, and the reason that you get those incontinence issues, I had that. I had full stream urinating on myself. That's what took mine away is frequency. So yeah, I recommend it with anybody with neurological issues, especially because, like I said, the charge is what helps tell your neurons when to fire and corrects a lot of those neural pathways, which is what causes a lot of the paralysis and the incontinence and all of that. Um, and then for the myasthenia gravis, that's an autoimmune condition. Yes, excellent for autoimmune conditions as well. Autoimmune is basically your immune system forgetting how to do its job. And again, when you add voltage to the body, it's reminding your body how to do its job.
Thanks, Stace. Okay, Alexis would like to know, can the wand be used if the person has a heart stent?
Yes.
Claire really notices the difference in the water when it's charged. She can feel it through her whole body and taste so much better because it's alive, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes, it's very cool. People think I'm crazy when I say that, but once you experience it, you're like, oh, I can taste the difference. It's awesome.
okay, and Cheryl, there's something called structured water, which is supposed to be good for you. Is this the same as structured water, or is our charged water different?
It's the same as structured water. So what that means is we're changing the shape of the molecule, like I talked about. So we're taking it from that cluster of grapes into that linear shape. That's what restructuring water is.
Got it. Love it. Michelle Philomona, I think she's probably popped off and had to go to work, but she says OlyLife is a game changer with multiple uses of their products. Wand is has so many uses. I can't wait till mine arrives. She's getting hers this week as well, like a lot of us.
Yep.
Sonia would like advice. Would this help with post polio?
Yes. This is supportive of the entire body. So any type of systemic breakdown like I had, yes, this would absolutely support the body in recovery.
Great. So Ellen would like to know, is using the wand or the P90 Plus the same benefit as grounding on the grass without shoes, please?
No, it is not. So in order to get the way that I present it to people is if you wanted to get the same charge, we'll talk about the P90, the regular model, right? So this 30-minute charge from a P90 on a level one, if you wanted to replicate that in nature, and we're going to say that nature is still as it was, a couple thousand years ago, before all these chemicals were being sprayed, before, they started ruining our soil, all that stuff, you would still have to spend about 48 hours in the dirt to replicate that charge, right? Now, in today's day and age, you'd probably have to lay out there for a couple of weeks because we don't have the minerals in the soil to carry that electrical voltage up through the soil to our bodies like we're supposed to. So can you get benefits from grounding? I think it's amazing. Yeah, you should absolutely go outside, get your feet in the dirt. Everybody should do that. It's good for you. It's part of our, just primal need, right? But can we get the benefits from it like we should in this environment? No, we can't. And that's where the P90 comes in and shines. Again, 30 minutes versus 48 hours. I think I'd pick the 30 minutes.
Yes, me too. That's 2026, you guys. So Samantha would
Yep.
like to know, how far does the electromagnetic field go around our bodies when we're on the P90?
I don't really know if you could measure it. I mean, there's going to be several things that are going to affect how far it expands outside of your body. Again, like you hear me talk about minerals. Are you low on minerals? That can make it kind of hug and stay close to the body. But generally speaking, it should be at least 5, maybe 4 or 5 inches around the whole body. Like think of it as like a little orb or circle around the body. That's why people, when they sit next to you, they can feel it. But I think that area that it kind of comes out is going to depend on your mineral sufficiency for sure.
Yeah, and I'll give an example. And Sam, I know you've been to events before. When we have lots of people lined up quite close to each other and they're all on the machines, you really, I believe, and can feel that it all joins together. Everybody just joins
Mm-hmm.
into one big bubble. I get goosebumps, and
Mm-hmm.
so for me, that's proof on its own that it does, halo around us while we're using these beautiful machines. Um,
Absolutely. I wish we could have somebody like sit. Have you ever seen an aura scan or like a thermography camera? Something
yeah.
like that. It would be cool to see. I'd be so interested to see what it looks like through one of those.
That'd be great to have at an event, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
I love it because sometimes people do need to see, which is why, sometimes it takes some people a few hits at the information on these machines to let it even hit their brain as a belief. So a picture would be
Right.
good, Stace. Okay, Debbie, could the wand help reverse damaged nerves caused by the sea down by the sacral area where they have been told it could be permanent and not be able to wee again? But also, could it help the bladder come back to working? A catheter is put in hoping the bladder will work again and be able to pee on their own. That's for Debbie.
I mean, I can't guarantee anything, but I would absolutely try it because you have to think about it this way. What is the bladder trying to do when you can't pee? It's trying, when you pee, it contracts, right? That muscle contraction is an electrical event. Okay. So if you're running on low voltage, your cells aren't boogieing like they should, your guts aren't contracting like they should, your digestion isn't contracting like they should, and your bladder is not contracting like it should. But when you raise that voltage, those muscles have a memory, those nerves have a memory. So you're stimulating the memory of them. And yes, I do 100% believe that they can be retrained. I've seen it happen many, many times. Is it across the board for everyone? No, but then you run into a thing like were they actually using it correctly? Were they being compliant? I can't monitor that type of thing, but I have seen a lot of people, myself included, regain control over there. I had on the right side of my body, I had basically partial paralysis. Like it felt like I was dragging around a bag of sand. I was full of stream urinating on myself. I had what they call polyneuropathy, where every nerve in my body would vacillate between pain or numbness, basically feeling like your arm fell asleep to burning pain. I would go between those two. So yeah, I think that it's an excellent thing for nerves because that's all nerve related, right? I had the polyneuropathy, meaning my every nerve in my body was messed up, essentially. And then I had the one with where I was urinating on myself. Then I had the issue with my right side paralysis. So I fully 100% believe, based on personal experience, that the nerves do want to regenerate and relearn their jobs if you give it the proper tools.
Thanks, Stace. Liz would like to know, she's curious about what your favorite OlyLife product is.
Yes. Well, I have to say the P90. I mean, I was a ride or die with the P90 for a couple years. I didn't even upgrade to the Plus until last September. And I just have the most experience with it because it's the most budget friendly of the two devices. It's just the one I worked with the most. It's the first one that we had. So I've just have a lot of experience with it. So it's still my favorite. I love it. Now, do I love the Plus too? Yes, but I don't have the history with the Plus like I do with the P90. 95% of the success stories that I've worked with are from the base model. So it's still my favorite.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw a spanner in the works and say that my favorite is the P90 as well. Because it's just so robust. You throw it in the boot of the car. There's no risk of anything being knocked off or
Yep.
broken, or it's
Yep.
user friendly for people that just look at it and go, okay, we plug it in here and put our feet on it. So yeah,
Hmm.
I do agree as well. So Linda has a husband that is a diabetic and she can't wait to use it on him. She's going to tell him it's for his heat rash. So I'm guessing she's directing it in that private area by saying that. Now, Pam,
Yes.
Pam
Get
has
that charged, sneak in that charged water too.
yeah, splash a bit of that around. Okay, Pam has a client with dystonia. So where would be the best place to use the wand, or would the goggles be better?
I would use both. Anything with neurological problems, I would use both. I love, 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 love the goggles. Love them. If nothing else, they help the person relax. So I would do the goggles first, get them nice and relaxed, and then do some, targeted sessions on their brain. Um, Dystonia, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you which part of the brain that is, but look up which part of the brain is affected in that condition and try to focus on that area or the reflexology point that coincides with that area for the best results.
Very cool. Deb makes her colloidal silver with charged water, but should she charge it before she puts the silver or do it when it's complete?
I would do it before. I'm sorry, I would do it after. Sorry. I would charge first and then add whatever you're going to add, your minerals. Minerals should come after the charge.
Okay. Thanks, Deb.
Yeah.
Jenny, I think Jenny's inboxed you too, Stace, on Facebook, Jenny Wells. She's having trouble with sleep apnea. What's the specific
Okay.
area on the body to wand, and is there neurological cause, not just structural?
I mean, Sleep apnea is like several different things going on at once, from my understanding. So it's inflammation, it's metabolic, it's neurological, it's cardiovascular. You know what I mean? There's several things going on. So for me, I would really focus on this area here because I was diagnosed with sleep apnea when I was injured. I didn't even know I had it, but it was just one of the millions of tests they ran on me. Um, I don't have any issues with that now because I used to get all kinds of weird alerts on my watch and stuff. But I will say that that's one of those things that's not going to heal overnight. And you're going to have to be super diligent about it. But I would definitely try doing just targeted sessions up here in the breathing area, doing some on the lungs, doing some, you know what I mean, everywhere that you could think of. I would actually need to look up those reflexology points again because it's been so long since I've hit them. But definitely, oh, definitely working on that area because if you think about sleep apnea, you're basically stop breathing because all of this stuff is just so inflamed, is what my understanding is. The way that's how it was with me. And it can take a long time to get that inflammation down in those tissues. So I would focus on that. Again, the wanted water in the palm, snorting it up there, trying to get that inflammation out. You can also take the wand itself, and while the air is coming out of the tip, you can take big inhales of it out of the tip, and that charge will actually go into your lungs and help clear up your lungs. So I used to do that for asthma attacks with this. So I would do all of that. I would do all of that and just experiment with it, see how your body responds better. And Jenny, I will check my messages and see what you said because it's been crazy, of course, because of promotion and everything. So I will take a look at your message.
Yes, we're breathing now that July has
Yeah,
completed.
yes, a little
Thanks,
bit.
Stace. Lucia would like to know, can it help with cataracts for the eyes and haven't had them operated on?
My preference from cataracts would be the goggles for sure. I've actually seen some pretty good success stories with that, like with cataracts getting smaller and stuff. So I would definitely try the goggles, and you can do the wand too. Um, I would close my eyes and wand my eyes, you know, because I had vision issues. Was very first using frequency and stuff. My eyes just wouldn't focus. It felt like I had a cheesecloth over my eyes. So I did direct wanding sessions on my eyes because there weren't goggles back then. But I would kind of do both. There's no reason you can't try both.
Beautiful. We're at time, so I'm just going to pick a couple of little short ones. Erin has damage to her legs, tendons, muscles, etc. from Cipro, 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 an antibiotic. Oh, it's an antibiotic. Will this help with those
Oh,
muscles and
Cipro,
tendons? Cipro?
got it. Cipro, yep.
Will it help with her muscles and tendons from that damage?
Absolutely. So, one of the properties of PEMF and terahertz therapies is that we see regeneration of tissues, bone, cartilage, all that kind of stuff. And the reason for that is that when you introduce this frequency into the body will get rid of the damaged cells. It's basically kind of replicating the process of autophagy, if you know what that is. Autophagy is where your body goes in and kind of gets rid of the waste cells. So, like scar tissue, stretch marks, stuff like that. It will go in and get rid of that. It's kind of replicating that. And during the process of autophagy, after the body gets rid of those bad things, the stem cells generate. And if you know anything about stem cells, those are the cells that regenerate, help repair. Everything in your body is regenerative. They don't tell you that, but that's why we grow scabs. That's why, we have the ability to regrow those things if we're given the proper tools. And yes, this is one of the key tools in that regeneration.
Thanks, Jace. Okay, Tina would is suggesting that the sprayed charged water might be good for under boob rash. I think so.
Yes,
Um,
yes, absolutely.
uh, Kerry wants to know, is it safe to use on my head as I have a small piece of wire that was used on my skull on right side after surgery 1988? Concerned what possibly could happen if the wire heats up.
I wouldn't be concerned about the wire heating up as long as you're not using the heat setting. I don't recommend ever staying in one spot, even on a cool setting. Just wave it around, move it around constantly. When you're wanting to worry about like internal heat is when you're staying in that same spot over and over and over and constantly putting the energy in the same spot. That's what can cause the heating. So I personally would be fine with it on the cold setting as long as you're waving it around. Now, if you're not comfortable, and if your physician says no, then you can use it anywhere else on the body, and you're still going to that charge is eventually going to get to that area, but it's just not going to be a hot spot that you're creating with the frequency itself. It's going to be more of like an all over the body effect.
Perfect. Okay, Beth, would it help someone with COPD?
Absolutely. My mom has COPD. Yes, I have
Okay.
firsthand experience with that.
Sandra Lee, can you use the P90 Plus and the attachments at the same time? Whilst using the P90 Plus, can another person use the attachments? Are there videos of someone demonstrating the usage of the P90 Plus attachments?
I haven't made one yet, but I should. As far as using anything while you're on the plates, you shouldn't be using anything else while you're on the plates. The reason being is it takes away some of the power of the biomagnetic field that the body is trying to create around your whole body. Any type of metal or electronic can interfere with that biomagnetic field and kind of break that circuit essentially. So I don't recommend using anything while you're on the P90 or P90 Plus. As far as somebody else using the attachments while you're on it, again, I don't recommend doing that if you want the maximum benefit of the field, because again, if they're close to you, they can interfere with your field. If they, if the electronic device is running close by the field, it can interfere with the field. So I would say it's better not to. Doesn't mean you can't. Doesn't mean you have to not do it if you're on a time constraint or whatever. But if you want the maximum benefits, you should do everything separately. Did I answer everything? Was there something
Yep.
else? I forget.
Yep.
Okay.
Deb, can this help with allergies?
Yes, absolutely. Again, the palm snorting the water up there, great for allergies. I think I mentioned mosquito bites, stings, all that kind of stuff. Spray charged water on there or wand it directly. You can actually, again, with the sinuses, if you have an allergy attack, breathe in that wanded air right from the tip of it, big inhales of it. That helps too.
Great. Alexis, would the wand help with arthritis cracking in my knees, even after using the claw?
Yes, absolutely. You're able to get a lot more of a concentrated biomagnetic field into the areas with the wand. Now, the attachments from the P90 Plus are good, but I do think that the wand itself for something like that works better at loosening up those tissues and getting things to relax.
Perfect. Now, Michelle Ray, does the wand help with the constipation? They all do, in my opinion, Stace, but you can elaborate on that.
Yep. Yep. So one of the reasons that people get constipated is again lack of voltage in the intestine. So the intestine is not contracting like it should, but when you add voltage back into the body, it starts to learn how to do that contraction again. And then also on top of that, the charged water, because when you drink charged water and your cells are wide open and they start drinking in more nutrients and minerals and all those things, it's also going to give your gut those raw materials to also help those muscles contract and get things moving again.
Okay, two more. These guys keep putting another one. Okay, so would you want for visual snow syndrome? May have been results of hitting head over 10 years ago. Seems to have started around then.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I would try it.
Right.
That's something that they told me that would never go away because I used to suffer with migraines with visual aura, and I had those for years from a brain injury and a concussion from an ex, actually. And so they told me I would suffer with that for years. I was on all kinds of different migraine medications and whatever to deal with that. I no longer have migraines. If I got a repeat MRI, I think where they saw, because on my MRI from that concussion, they could see where the tissue was damaged and stuff. And I remember seeing it on my repeat MRI. I don't think it would be there because I have zero pain, I have zero vision issues like I used to, and it's been awesome. So I'd absolutely try it.
Perfect. Piyush, rather than answer the voltage questions, I'm just going to go with the health ones for now because we're at the end, sorry. Is it safe to use either P90 or the wand on a limb that has pins, screws, or metal rods?
That's something I would definitely consult your physician about. If it were me, I would feel comfortable with using the one on a cool setting, but again, no oozing, bleeding, anything like that. I don't know if this is like an outside pin apparatus or internal pin apparatus. I do have lots of clients that have internal pins and screws and plates and all that kind of stuff, and they do just fine. But with the wand, I would definitely recommend the cool setting if you wanted to try it.
Thanks, Stace. Amy would like to know, does it help with biotoxins and mold exposure?
So, little known fact, the P90 is actually better at that. So the P90, when you raise the voltage of the entire body, you release something called biofilms. Now, this isn't something that happens at the same pace for everyone, but biofilms is where all that stuff likes to hang out. It's a sticky, goopy substance that the body makes, and it kind of stores things in there that it doesn't know how to handle on its own. So in the immune system, is dysfunctional for a long time. It doesn't know how to clear those things. So it'll make these sticky things, like I said, to store the mold toxins and the spores and the heavy metals and the this and the that. So when you raise the voltage of the entire body, those biofilms can no longer survive and you will start to purge them. And so anybody that I've worked with mold toxicity, with toxicity in general, they will pass a crap ton of biofilms and their symptoms will start to dissipate because they're getting out all of those co-infections that stick in those biofilms. This is also the best way to get rid of parasites. So I personally don't believe in doing direct parasite cleansing. I believe if you kill the parasites, they're going to release a bunch of bad stuff into the body and come right back. So the way that I teach my clients to get rid of parasites is the P90 because it clears those biofilms first, which harbor a bunch of the toxins that the parasites live off of. And when you remove the food source from the parasites leave. There's nothing there for them to eat off of. And a lot of people don't realize that parasites are actually a good thing because if your body has become overrun with toxins, they're actually there to help you. They're actually there to help you stay afloat because your body can't handle all that goop that's hanging around. So if you have parasites, and I'm not talking about the deadly amoebas and all that stuff, I'm talking about the general ones, that means your body needed them. It needed somewhere for the rest of those toxins to go. So when you get rid of their food source and everything, they're not going to come back because there's no reason for them to be there.
Yep, thanks, Stace. EWC,
Mm-hmm.
can Aussie trace minerals cause constipation?
No, you generally the opposite. So I would think if you started minerals and you're seeing some constipation, you're probably not drinking enough water. You got to increase those fluids.
Perfect. What about Lyme's disease, the last one?
Same thing as I just talked about the biofilms. So Lyme co-infections stick in those biofilms. So the P90 is great for that.
Perfect. Yay, we made it to the end. If we missed any questions, because I did have to jump a couple of ones, particularly that tech one. I know he's got a question about the wattage in India. Reach out to Stace. She has a history with the other machine that you are referring to as well there. So we don't want to abandon any questions. We're going to be back here same time next week. Cannot wait to see you then. Yes, the recording will come. I promise it'll be up today. Mwah. Thank you, Stace. As always, you're
Bye,
amazing.
guys.
Bye.
See you next week.